Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to have a lot of videos for you guys today. And actually, 2 or 3 of these videos are about the comic book industry. And this one you sent over to me this morning talking about Dark Horse committing to run harassment and discrimination prevention training.
Which I do agree with the fact that you should make sure there's no harassment or discrimination in the workforce. I do agree with that part. But my comment to this was, why can't they run these, classes to how to interact with fans?
That is a good question, because this is, there's a lot of discussion about toxic workplaces and all of that, but we're not having the conversation about what your freelancers and editors running at the mouth on social media is doing for your company's bottom line. Mm-hmm. When you've got guys like Pablo Hidalgo from Lucasfilm going out and attacking fans, and the blowback has been severe from fandoms and from outlets like Variety. A lot of the decline in the comic book industry, the decline in the interest of the comic book industry, can be traced back to toxic creators, toxic editors telling fans they literally don't want them to buy books. We're seeing this Lucasfilm too. Don't buy my comics. Please don't buy my comics. Right. Don't buy my comics. And then you know what? People don't buy the comics, and then they're a bunch of bigots.
And then who's the bigot here? Because they're allowing the toxic behavior to spill out onto social media against fans. But then if anything happens internally, we got to stop this. We got to safety first. Yeah. We got to protect people. Meanwhile, don't you know, it's hilarious to me that anybody who disagrees with these people on Twitter, for example, are automatically labeled cis white men, alt-right Yahtzees, etc., etc. And oftentimes they aren't those things at all. And that's even funnier, because you're like calling somebody because you're just a straight white guy, entitled white guy, and it's not even somebody who's white or male.
Because everybody's a problematic white male. So we're going to talk about a couple of problematic white males here at Dark Horse that kicked this off. In a minute, before we get into it, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 170,000 subs. Thank you for the support. So yeah, this is interesting to read this, that they're going to do this, I guess, to make the people working there feel better. But Scott Alley, who is... He is Dark Horse's, or was Dark Horse's editor. He was a known biter and licker. Now,
yeah, you told me about this.
People knew all about Scott. At conventions, they would talk about Scott. When Scott would get drunk and he'd go after convention parties, he had a tendency to bite people and lick people.
That's messed up.
Everybody knew it. They said, stay away from him if he's drunk. Don't go to the Dark Horse party. Oh my God, I went to the Dark Horse party and I saw Scott try to bite this guy or whatever. He got gone.
Well, okay? I mean, he should be, because that's not acceptable behavior.
It took years. It took years for them to get rid of him.
Yep. Yeah.
So now after he's gone, after they've gotten rid of some other problematic people from Dark Horse, years after the fact, now they're going to have harassment and discrimination prevention training.
I know. Now.
Why?
It's like, why? Yeah, but I mean, why not before, when everybody's complaining about it?
That is a damn good question, because this article about Scott Alley goes back to 2015. And I know I was hearing people complain about people at Dark Horse in like 2012.
I know you've been telling me about it for a while.
Like, oh my God, Dark Horse
before we even did
shit.
YouTube, you were telling me about some of the weird shit that was going on.
Yeah. I mean, it's known. Again, it's a small industry. Everybody kind of knows everybody. Now, I've never met Scott personally. I've had a couple of emails with him years ago.
I never understood why they allowed it. I remember I've been asking you then. I'm like, well, I don't understand why do they allow this kind of behavior?
Because it's comics.
Yeah, well, and then comics change. So I'm like, so that behavior should have been ended years ago.
Yeah.
But by the same, token, a lot of the bad behavior we're seeing now, which is the like polar opposite of that, should not be allowed as well. You need to find some kind of middle ground here.
Comics needs to treat itself like an actual business, and it doesn't. And that's what was so appalling about Disney buying Marvel. I thought Disney buying Marvel would kind of clean up comics, because they would expect their people to behave in a professional...
Especially being Disney.
Yeah.
And they don't like any bad press.
And they don't. They let their people, their freelancers, run rampant. Now, I understand... Their out is we're dealing with freelancers. I will tell you, as someone who has freelanced for Disney, I have had to sign papers saying I would not go out there and make the company look bad on Disney's behalf while I was under contract for them. So it's bullshit to say that you get an out because you're a freelancer. And I think anybody who's working with these companies, needs to, because if you hired a plumber to come in your house, and the plumber's out in the community telling people, God, their house smells, they're horrible people. They got a bunch of dogs. It's gross. I hate this house, whatever. And like you lost your job. I think they're beating their kids and you lost your job over it because the plumber's out there running at the mouth. You probably could sue the plumber. I think these companies need to be like, if you cost us business by going out there and attacking customers on social media, you as a contractor, as a self-employed individual, you are responsible financially for that. You would see comics clean up its act so quickly if they told people who worked on books that if you're out there and you're deliberately causing trouble and costing us money and making us look bad as a contractor, that you're responsible for that. Oh my God, that would change everything. Though?
Because 10 to 1, they would just they would take the letter they were given, it was confidential, post it on Twitter and be like, cancel these people because they're just trying to tell us that we can't, they're just istophobes telling us that we can't defend whatever.
Well, then you sue them for breach of contract.
I'm just saying, it's just like this behavior is bad.
Yeah.
I just don't understand. Internally, okay, if there's shit like this going on where people are behaving badly and you want to have harassment, discrimination, training, I get it. But if you're going to do that internally, it should be for the employees on a daily basis for behavior, conduct, code of conduct, etc. That would reach out into like social media and everything else as well. Yeah. That just makes sense.
Yeah, I personally, if it were me, and I'm not in charge of Dark Horse, but if it were me, I would say, if you agree to do work for us as a contractor, here are your terms. Mm-hmm. You will not disparage us. You will not cost us money. You will not attack our fans. If you're not okay with that, then we can't retain your services. You're not an employee. You're a contractor. And you'll keep your damn mouth shut. Here's an NDA, too, while you're at it.
And this is not to say that if a fan is out there legitimately harassing you and targeting you specifically, that you can't block them.
Right.
Or, I'm not saying that. Obviously, if someone is deliberately going out of their way to harass you, that's completely different. Yeah. And you should be allowed to call that behavior out and block it. I'm talking about these people that go and instigate stuff on like social media. And then when people fight back, they start screaming that, oh my God, they're just blankety blank, insert whatever istophobe thing they want to insert. Or they do subpar work and someone says, your work's gone downhill and I don't want to buy your comic. And then that immediately you start trying to label them as alt-right and everything else. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, and if you're doing it on behalf of the company, you've got your company credits or whatever in the byline. Remember, you are a contractor, you're not an employee. And I don't think that contractors representing the company should be allowed to sidestep these issues.
No, and if it's something you shouldn't do inside the workplace, it's something you shouldn't do represent the company outside of it.
Yeah, just ask IDW how that went, because there was apparently a big blow up with Hasbro because of one of their writers going out there and trashing the G.I. Joe fandom, working on G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
And it cost them money.
Right. And I know my dad used to work for an airline. And when we went flying, we got to fly for free. But anytime that we went on a flight, we had to dress up because we were representatives of the company.
Yeah.
There was a code of conduct. You had to behave in a certain manner. You had to dress in a certain manner. You weren't allowed to, to disparage the company and things like that because you're representatives of the company. And if you work there, even if you're a freelancer, you represent the company. Act like it. If people want a turn in comics and don't get one, you guys are, you're also, for all you're whining and bitching and complaining, at least you're in there getting to do it. The least you could do is act like, act like the people you think everybody should treat you like. You act like you should be on this pedestal. You act like, well, I have an opinion and you don't because I'm so-and-so. Well, then act professionally.
And if you can't abide by those rules, go do your own thing.
Exactly.
But you want to use a platform. These people want to use the platform.
They all want the platform.
Yeah, and it's
they want to be the show pony on the platform.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. This is coming from Bleeding Cool. This is an internal policy at Dark Horse. Again, there are not nearly as many people working in-house at companies like Dark Horse as there are freelancers, but here we go. So after allegations against a number of Dark Horse Comics employees in recent years, including Scott Alley and Brendan Wright, the Portland-based comic book publisher committed to undertake a number of measures regarding the policing of such issues going forward. Last night, they tweeted out the following. With the help of outside HR consultant McGeeky Consulting, Sorry, Mr. or Ms.
That's just fun
McGeechy.
to say, McGeechy.
McGeechy. Oh, that'd be a good children's show. Mr. McGeechy.
I think it's funny.
Dark Horse leadership has been reflecting, discussing, and implementing new and updated policies to ensure the safety, happiness, and well-being of employees. Here are the measures we have instituted. An updated code of conduct policy that we're asking all employees, creators, and business partners to uphold.
Yeah, but is this internal or external as well? I would hope it would be implemented for, behavior outside on social media.
Well, business partners, that would be, so maybe they are looking at it. It's not very clear. It wasn't very clear that that's what they're doing, but a more in-depth anti-harassment and anti-discrimination policy, which includes a clear reporting policy for employees across all departments and divisions, a newly formed employee relations committee that manages, guides, and directs any significant employee relations issues at Dark Horse, a newly formed HR executive committee focused on implementing HR strategy, identification and introduction of new company values assembled into a culture document, helping to define and inspire our workplace culture.
Right. I'm talking about what happens outside the workplace.
That is it. Beginning this year, an annual series of harassment and discrimination prevention training sessions will be implemented for all our employees. Now, one of the last full-time jobs I had, we just learned how to use the fire extinguishers, but they're doing this stuff now in all these companies. Dark Horse will continue taking the necessary steps forward to prevent harassment and discrimination within the workplace. We will not hire people who like to lick and bite you at company parties.
No one should be subjected to that.
No,
I'm sorry.
I would have punched him in the face.
I wouldn't have put up with it.
I would be like, get your tongue off my ear. Yuck. But then, people probably put up with it because they're like, well, I get to work on Hellboy, so lick me, Scott, lick me.
Oh, no. I remember that time you were on the air and that one girl kept flicking your ear.
Oh, my God. See, so we've had this conversation a lot lately for some reason, but I am completely oblivious when people are hitting on me. Like, it doesn't even compute. It didn't even compute with me and you at first. Like, oh, I'm supposed to make a move. Okay.
No, I had to. Let's clarify. Actually, my sister's one made me, but it was me who made the move, not you.
But I when I'm in work mode, I do not think that way. Okay, that's one thing I can say. I'm probably the last person that you're ever going to have any accusations against in the workplace, because I don't even like shaking people's hands because I don't like germs. I'm not going to be licking people for damn sure. That's for sure. But yeah, the one radio station, I used to work at a radio station, and the one radio station I worked at, there was a girl that worked there. And I thought she wasn't straight, so I didn't
I honestly
think
thought she wasn't straight too.
I mean, she's real nice. She had a show after mine, and she would come in, and she brought her friend with her.
It was a Lilith Fair Power Hour.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I did the 80s, 90s alt-rock show for a couple hours, and then she would come in and do her Lilith Fair stuff with her friend, which I thought they were a couple. I don't know what happened there, but the one week you didn't go with me.
I was sick.
Because she was sick.
As a supportive wife we had not been married long at this point.
A couple of months.
The supportive wife I turned on the radio to listen to your show.
And so this girl, she started I was trying to read the news and she was flicking my ear or something. I'm like, what are you doing? I thought she was messing with me, trying to get me a flub. But, oh my God, Geeky, called me right after the song. She said, what the hell's going on? And, we had a conversation. I got home, I don't know. I was just trying to read the news and she's flicking my ear. And she's like, why is she flicking your ear? I'm like, I don't know. I thought she was gay.
Beyond that. She was all over you.
She was she was.
So as soon as I wasn't there, the one week I didn't go with him, then she was there doing this. And anyway, my point is.
Well, then the following week, she's like, I just love your husband.
She did. And I was like, yeah, so do I. Back the flip off. Anyway, my point is, you were in the workplace.
Yeah.
You were doing your job.
Yes.
And she was all over you, flicking your ear.
Yes.
And invading your space. And it was not acceptable.
It was not. And I swear.
And it was a woman.
I thought she was gay.
I did too. I really did.
I really did.
She apparently is bi. So who knew?
Yeah, I never saw that coming. Anyway, but yeah, so this is not acceptable behavior. It's not, licking and biting people at work. Don't do it. We're optimistic about our future. So I got to wonder.
At least they're optimistic.
Yeah, right. Yeah, comics are not doing good. And look, a big part of the decline is because of the behavior of the people working in the comic book industry.
Yes, that's what I don't get. It's obvious what the issue. Well, one of the issues, they aren't selling because they're not picking art styles or stories that are going to bring in the fans. Okay, that's part of it. And then when they do have people that read it and are supporting it, they are alienating a whole bunch of people that support it and read it by making weird changes for no reason, changing characters, identities and stuff for no reason. And then when people ask questions, even in innocent ways, if they don't like it, they are, disparaging them, calling them names. Immediately you're labeled, targeted, harassed, etc. What do they think is going to happen? I mean, this has clearly been what the problem is, but for whatever reason, they absolutely refuse to change it.
So I gotta wonder, because look, this stuff was going down years ago, and they got rid of these guys years ago, a couple of years ago now. Mm-hmm. What's going on behind the scenes that they feel like they have to do this now? Yeah,
it reads like it just happened.
It did just happen, yeah. Oh no, the Scott L. Lee and Brendan Wright, that was a couple of years
That's
ago.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It reads like this because of this was just happened. I'm like, why did it take you this long?
Why did it take you a couple of years to get this? So what's going on now that you're being accused of?
And they're trying to hide.
Because why would you, a struggling comic book publisher, why would you go out and hire this corporate, this consulting firm? They cost money, big money. Mm. Why would you do it unless you're afraid that there's something going on currently that you could get in trouble or get bad press for? Mm-hmm. That's my...
Or they're doing so shitty, they're trying to find a way to leverage good press. Who knows?
I don't know. But 35 years, you're probably about 15 years too late. Mm-hmm. But I do believe that these companies, these comic book publishers, that they're going to survive because there's so many weird-ass people working in comics. Comics is a very, iffy industry, and it's built mostly on freelancers, and a lot of those people can't get work anywhere else, so you're not going to have that corporate culture. But I think if comics is going to survive, it needs to start thinking more like a business, and it needs to start behaving, because this is actually very normal stuff for any business.
Right. Like they're trying to do something about it now, but it's too little too late.
Yeah, again, Marvel needed to do this too, to rein their people, and they didn't do it. They didn't enforce it. So I don't know, guys. Rein your creators in.
Yep. Sorry, I'm sipping tea out of a Star Wars cup.
She's sipping tea like Kermit the Frog. Mm-hmm. So, gonna wrap this one up?
Yep.
Okay, so please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.